What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. I'm Keith. We're doing another video. I didn't think we would be, but here we are. Oh my goodness. Things going on, lots of things going on in the world right now. I was done with streaming, was done with Twitch, done. Told you guys, you all heard it. You heard me say it. I was content. I was happy. I was minding my own business, staying off of YouTube, staying off Twitch. It was beautiful, lovely. I enjoyed every moment of it. Missed you guys, but I had a wonderful time. But holy shit, we got some stuff to talk about. I gotta break this down because I'm watching this video. I've seen this. I've seen a couple guys cover this. And there's some stuff that hasn't been talked about. So I'm gonna break this down a little bit more. And yeah, without any further ado, let's just dive right into it, guys. Me let me maximize this and then we'll just play it. Let's it I was checking volumes, so give me a second so we can do this. All right, here we go. Let's get into it.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to have
All right,
President
so
Zelenskyy.
here on the left we've got the Ukrainian president, President Zelenskyy. On the right, obviously, we've got Donald Trump. Next to Trump, we have the Vice President JD Vance. Uh and they're at the Oval Office. They came there with a little, for some context, he came there to sign a mineral deal. We were going to go over there, get some raw minerals in exchange for money and support. And basically, we were trying to create a peace deal, but they'll explain that. So,
Of Ukraine, and we've been working very hard, very close. So we've actually known each other for a long time. We've been dealing with each other for a long time and very
mhm.
well.
Yep.
We had a little negotiation spat, but that worked out great. I think for both
They had a
countries.
negotiation spat. All that. So they've been going back and forth, and you can see President Zelensky looking at Trump like he wasn't ready to hear that. But he said it worked out great. Trump always does. He's a deal maker, so he's gonna say things are great.
I think for the world, actually, beyond both countries. And we have something that is a very fair deal. And we look forward to getting in and digging and
Digging,
working
digging,
and
digging.
getting some of the rare earth.
Oh yeah.
But it means we're going to
He
be
doesn't care.
inside.
Look at this shit. Look at his eyes. He's not even. He's listening without looking. He's absorbing. He's analyzing the words. Look at his eyes. He's looking into the distance. He's purely just using his ears. Like he's analyzing the hell out of what Trump is saying right now. Look at him.
And it's a big commitment from the United States, and we
Uh-huh.
appreciate
It
working
is.
with you very much. And we will continue to do that. We have had some very good discussions with Russia. I spoke with
I think that's
President
important.
Putin, and we're going to try and bring this to a close. It's something that you want and that he wants. We have to negotiate a deal,
Yeah.
but we've started the confines of a deal, and I think something.
Now, I'll give President Zelensky a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. He doesn't seem like the conventional type of uh president. He doesn't seem like and obviously Trump isn't a conventional president by any means. However, President Zelensky seems more of a um he seems less, I want to say he comes off as less experienced. He probably, obviously, he's the leader of a country. He knows what he's doing. He's been doing it. But he, yeah, let's just
Can
continue.
happen. The big thing is the number of soldiers mostly at this point, but soldiers being killed. You're losing thousands of soldiers on both
Yep.
sides. We're losing a lot of soldiers,
Right.
and
They are.
we want to see
Everybody.
it
There's a lot of people dying. A lot of people dying.
stop,
Make it stop.
and we want to see the money get put to different kinds of use, like rebuilding.
Right.
The rebuilding.
Stop buying bullets. And
And we're going to be working very hard, but we've had a lot of very good conversations. I will say until we came along, the Biden administration didn't speak to Russia whatsoever.
that's not true. They got into a shouting match.
They didn't speak to anybody. They just allowed this to continue. And I will say that, I'll say in front of you,
I mean, when Trump said that he didn't say anything to anybody, he and President Zelenskyy got into a shouting match.
you've heard me say it 1,000 times. If I were president, this war would have never happened. We would have had a deal negotiated for you without having to go
Might
through
have.
what you've gone
It started the year before his
through.
presidency.
Your soldiers have
His
been
first presidency.
unbelievably brave. We've given them great equipment, but somebody has to use the equipment. They've been unbelievably brave,
Right.
and we give them great credit.
They
this
do.
was supposed to be over very quickly.
Now, I believe that Russia is a very the Russian people are I've met some really great Russian people. However, Putin is probably like I want to say on the top 5 worst people on this planet list. And they're next door neighbors. So if we want to have peace and we want to have both of them sit down and talk, we do need to present ourselves in a certain kind of way to get them to sit down at the same table.
And here we are 3 years later. So I give tremendous credit to your generals and your soldiers and yourself in the sense that it's been very hard fighting, very tough fighting. They're great fighters. And you have to be very proud
brave
of them
people.
from that
I'm very
standpoint.
proud.
But now we want to get
You
it
should
over
be.
with. It's enough, right? We want to
It
get
is
it
enough.
over with. So
There's no I mean, you just look at just raw numbers. You look at the size of Russia, you look at the size of Ukraine, you look at the population of Russia, you look at the population of Ukraine. It's very rough. There's no win condition. Uh, Russia can just keep throwing shit against the wall, and eventually something's gonna stick.
it's an honor to have you here. Thank you very much for coming. We're going to sign the agreement at the conference in the East Room in a little while, right after lunch. And we'll be having lunch together. We're also discussing some other things.
I like lunch.
And we
Lunch is
appreciate
good.
everybody being here. It's somewhat of an exciting moment, but the really exciting moment is when they stop the shooting and we end up with a deal. And I
Yeah.
think we're fairly close to getting that, and an honor to have you. And please, I'd like to say something.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you for invitation.
Right.
And really, I hope that this first document, will be first step to real security guarantees for Ukraine, our people, our children.
So they signed a framework for a deal. Basically, Trump brought Zelenskyy there. He said, "This is what I want from Ukraine. What is it that you want from what is it that you want us to talk to Russia about to make this war end?" That is this first document.
I really count on it. And of course, we count that America will not stop support. Really, for us, it's very important to support and to continue.
To continue
I
fighting.
want to discuss it with details further during our conversation, and of course, the infrastructure or security guarantees.
Right.
Because for today, I understand what Europe is ready to do.
Yeah.
And of course, I want to discuss with you what United States will be ready to do.
Yeah.
And I really count on your strong position to stop Putin. And
Now, mind you, these guys are having a conversation in order to create a dialogue with Russia. Don't believe it's not in the it's not the best negotiation tactic to say to stop Putin. How about to stop the war? Let's say that.
And you said that enough with the war. I
Yep.
think that is very important, Ben, to say these words to Putin at the very beginning. At the very beginning of war, because he is a killer and terrorist.
He is a killer and a terrorist. This is like this is nothing says negotiate. Like if I started a negotiation with someone by telling them to go fuck themselves, you think they should just sit down, pull up a chair, and say, "Okay, what was you wanted to talk? What is it you wanted to? No, fuck off."
But I hope that together we can stop him. But for us, it's very
Together
important.
we can stop him, but together for us, it's very important to save our country. Yes, this is all about maintaining the sovereignty of the Ukraine, because if this war plays out and finishes with a win condition, Russia will win and there will be no Ukraine. And if Russia does win and they seize Ukraine, they will kill President Zelenskyy. Obviously, right? They will kill the losing side's president, right? Especially if Russia is the one who's winning, right?
To, to save our country, our values,
Yeah.
our freedom,
Yeah.
democracy,
Yep.
and of course, no compromises with the killer about.
No compromises with the killer. So what are we talking about? Sorry. So what are we talking about? What are we here for?
Our territories, but it will be later. And of course, what I wanted, we spoke about it by phone with you about the drones production. We have very good drones production. I think the best one in the world for today,
Okay.
because of the war.
Okay.
Yes, and of course, we need very much the air defense. You have the best air defense in the world, and really you helped us under attacks.
Air
of Russians.
defense.
And I want to speak
I'll
how
get
we
into
can
that.
exchange the licenses. We're open to share the licenses of all our drones with you, of course, with the United States, and we need licenses for quick production.
We can make our
of
own
air
drones.
defense. Even after the war, we need our nation to be calm, that we are secured. So that's
Yeah.
why we need this air.
A little backstory, right? I'm of Eastern European descent, so there is a different style of speaking English that somebody who comes from overseas and then speaks to an English speaking person, they choose different words. It doesn't necessarily mean something. It's just like they're translating their words into an English word, and sometimes it comes off. Um, it depends on the country. It depends on which, but they do have a different style of speaking. They choose different words. They have a different vocabulary. This thing right here where it says, that is why we need this air shield. This is big.
Shield. And of course, about this, I want to speak about the contingents.
Let me get into it because I can't remember if they go further into it. But for anybody who doesn't know, the air shield is probably our most classified piece of technology that the United States has. Probably more classified than Area 51, just because it defends our sovereignty, our borders. The air shield, I pulled up another thing, right? Another video, just so I can kind of show you what it is. So on both sides of our country, I don't know if let me maximize this. Let me pull this over so you guys can see it a little bit better. All right, so on both coasts of our country, we have this technology that it's a group of technologies that collectively are called the air shield. And what that is is basically anti-air, anti-missile, anti-anything, aircraft, whatever. Um, and it is basically anti-ballistic technology, anti-missile technology, anti-invasion technology. To put it simply, it is the reason why Russia and China and whoever, nobody can just launch a missile into the United States. So basically, think of I explained it earlier as basically like the Gungan bubble force fields from Star Wars Episode 1, right? But it has like an encryption and decryption and re-encryption software. It is ever changing. You cannot break through this technology. This technology is, I believe, uh, like 30 or it's quite old. It started when the Cold War was going on, and it was basically a way for us to defend ourselves against somebody who might want to launch a nuke at us. And it also works for other types of missiles as well. Basically every type of missile, except for a couple, right? So the United States, we are strategic with our choice in allies, and we use bodies of land as defenses, as we do with Japan. We use Japan as a physical barrier between us, China, and Russia. And we also have what is called the air shield on our western coast, and it is quite heavily installed on the western coast, and not so much, but still exists on our eastern coast as well. The reason why it is mostly or it is implemented more on our western coast is because of the people who exist on our closest on our western coast. It would be the best place to concentrate that technology, just because in order for Russia to launch a missile against us from our into our eastern coast, they would have to fly it over London, and London would shoot it down probably, most likely. There's also NATO central in Western Europe. So it would probably have a hard time going across all of Europe, all of the ocean, and past our eastern border and into our country. It would be the best use of uh, the technology to focus it mainly on our western coast. So when he's saying that he wants this air shield, he wants this anti-missile technology. This bubble force field that we've built around our country to keep our country from being invaded.
Sophisticated coordinate.
That's back to the right video.
I think that France and UK already spoke to you, and we know that Europe is ready, but without the United States, they will not be ready to be as strong as we need. And the last point,
Okay.
last not least, about exchange, about our people and children. And you know that these crazy Russians, that they stolen 20,000 of children. Ukrainian
20,000
they
children.
changed their names. They changed their family.
Now, I do sympathize with this, and I think that this was kind of it it's got nothing to do with the mineral deal that apparently the Ukrainian president, he was briefed after entering our country, and it was explained to him how to present himself in front of the American media, because we do have our censorship. We do, like it or don't like it. The government does cherry pick what they're going to tell us, right? It's normal. Every country does this. They're not gonna give us the nuclear launch codes, right? So you know, they cherry pick what they are talking about. When it came to sitting in front of a bunch of reporters, the Ukrainian president was advised to talk about this uh this deal about the resources. And here he is, he's going into 20,000 children have been kidnapped, and they have been had their names changed, and they have had uh their documents all changed, so we cannot even find them if we even are looking at them in the face, right? That is what he's saying, and that is awful. That is horrible. And of course, you leave it to Putin to do something like that. That is textbook, you know, KGB, former KGB, you know, that is textbook KGB actions, you know? And I believe him 150%. I believe that this is happening. And it's sad. It's very sad. And I'm glad he let us know that this is happening, because I did not know prior to him telling us that this is happening. I know that they're killing a lot of Russians. They're also dying quite a bit. They are also the Ukrainians. I'm aware that they are basically kidnapping people, their own people, and but they're forcing them. They're drafting them, but they're drafting them by going to their house and putting them in the back of a van and saying, "You're in the military now, buddy." That's their form of draft card, basically. That it's a very bad situation. It's a very bad situation. I sympathize with him, but he has to understand that we are not in the war. This is not our war. This is not a war that we want to be in. This is a war that we want to be a third party for, in order to get these two groups to sit down and talk. And talk, and then stop, and then never have to have another conversation about this again. That is the goal of the American government, and Trump is trying to, you know, be the head guy during this negotiation. All right.
Relatives, and now they're in Russia. We want to bring them back.
Yeah.
And really, it's a big dream, task, and goal for me.
You cannot do it.
And our warriors.
It's you can probably bring like 10% of them back. Maybe. But they will have to be given to you. You are not going to find these people.
By the way, Mr. President, we exchanged, released more than 4,000 warriors from Russian prison, but there are thousands more in the prison. I wanted to share with you some images.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Mind you, they already talked. They already signed a framework for a deal. This conversation that Zelenskyy is initiating, this is all stuff that is supposed to have been done before sitting down in front of a group of reporters, right? This is all stuff that you sit down and you have this conversation while you're writing the framework for this deal. You bring these pictures, these before and after pictures of somebody who's in the Russian prisons. You do that behind closed doors. He's there's no reason for him to do this in front of the reporters.
How?
Because he could have done this. He probably did do this. I mean, why would he not do this during the sit down before he signed something?
Just can I now?
Yeah, please,
Have I,
please.
Some minute, 1 minute.
Of course,
1
Trump,
minute.
he's going to say yes, sure. Because it's, you know what? What are you going to say? No? Don't? No? The cameras are rolling.
To understand in what circumstances, in what situation they are, and what the attitude of Russia to our prisoners. That, guys, just you before and after. And you see before and after, just you to understand. Now thousands of such guys, ladies and men.
I mean, I can't really
there,
see the pictures
and
very
that,
well. I
so
can
they don't
see
think
that
they
that
beat
there's a
them
person
and
on the
they,
left and a person on the right.
so they do a lot of bad things. So out of, even during the war, there are rules. Everybody knows there
Yes.
are rules during the war.
Yes.
These guys, they don't have any rules. You see that, 50, 60 kilograms left, and a lot of such things.
Yes, so they
And
lost.
I didn't want.
They're not feeding them. They're not, they're not treating these prisoners well. And there are rules during war. There are rules that every country has to follow in order to have, there are war crimes, right? And what he's saying is that Russia is committing war crimes.
To show you what the changes with images of children, because I will share with you. And I mean, it's looking tragic.
Yep, that's tough stuff.
That's
wanted
rough.
Very much to give
I really do feel for the
You see.
Ukrainian people,
Yeah.
and I feel especially for the Ukrainian president who has been dealing with this war for so many years. I really am sorry for all of the heartbreak that so many people in that country have gone through. But this is the wrong time to do this. The time to do this, what he's doing, was before they sat down in front of the reporters. Because right now, what they're trying to do in front of the reporters, the goal of sitting in front of the reporters is to get Russia to the table.
This is pastor, by the way. They stolen pastors because it's not Russian church. They stolen pastors and.
Now, the table with the United States, right? The Ukraine is going to come to the table with the United States. Russia is going to come to the table with the United States. And so they will all three be at the same table to have this conversation, hopefully. Right? Hopefully. However, you're gonna see it. You're gonna see it.
Move pastors to the prison.
They're
the
showing
end
the
of
priests.
Last year we brought 3 pastors and we could exchange them. And this is pastor, you see.
Yep.
Yeah, that's tough.
It is tough.
So
Yep.
I mean, this I wanted to show you and this. So thank you very much.
We want to get that ended, right?
Yeah,
Of course.
Of course, we
And
will.
I think we will. I think we will. And,
Have to, of course.
do you have any questions, please?
Did you notice? It seemed like there was more that Trump wanted to go into, but rather than getting into, talking with the American people or sitting down and basically, having a monologue with the American people, now he's just saying, you know what, screw it. Let's go to the questions. We're done. We're not gonna do this. We're not gonna sit there and do the emotional thing. We're supposed to be talking about resources. He said, "Fuck it. Let's just go to the questions."
Thank you, Mr. President. How much money is the U.S. going to put into the fund that is being created today, and how does this provide long-term security for Ukraine?
So the deal is like not really a deal, right? It's more of like the beginning stage of the deal. Basically, the Trump and Zelenskyy, they discussed what it is that Ukraine needs from Russia in order to stop fighting. There's no deal. It's just, what do you need? Right? Because now we have to go to Russia and say the same thing. What do you need? There's no deal right now, right? If there was a deal, we would be sending people into the Ukraine to get these resources like next week.
Well, we don't know exactly how much because we're going to be putting some money in a fund that we're going to get from the raw earth that we're going to be taking
Right.
and sharing in terms of revenue. So it's going to be a lot of money will be made from the sale and from the use of raw earth. And as you know, our country doesn't have much raw earth. We have a lot of oil and gas.
I'm not sure what he means by raw earth. Now, dirt, we have plenty of dirt. I don't know if he means silicon. He might mean silicon. I'm thinking silicon because he goes into the computers and blah, 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 blah. You know, he talks about, I was not aware that we are running low on silicon. So maybe it's not silicon either. I'm not sure. Raw earth could be coal for all I know. I'm not sure.
We don't have a lot of the raw earth. And what we do have is protected by the environmentalists, but that could be unprotected. But still, it's not very much. They have among the best in the world in terms of raw earth. So we're going to be using that, using it for all of the things we do, including AI and including weapons and the military. And it's really going to very much satisfy our needs. So something that just worked out really well. We have a lot
So he
of
doesn't
oil,
want
we
to
have a
be
lot
in the
of gas,
war.
we
He
have a lot
doesn't
of-
want to
we
give
don't
them
have raw
weapons
earth.
and all that
So,
stuff. He doesn't
this,
want to. He doesn't want to be part of. You know, he doesn't want to drag out a war. He just wants to make a deal with both people, make both people make a deal, and walk away. Right? He's like, Trump's under the impression this war is not our problem. And it is not our problem. It is not. It could be our problem, but right now it is not our problem.
This has just about every component of the raw earth that we need for computers, for all of the things we do. This puts us in great shape.
And then long-term security for Ukraine. How does this provide?
I think they're going to have great luck. I think once we make the agreement, that's going to be 95% of it. They're not going to go back to fighting. I've spoken with President Putin.
I don't know.
And I feel very strong. I've known him for a long time. And I feel very strongly that they're very serious about it. And
No,
we'll
they're
make
not.
a deal. And when the deal is made, I don't think we talk about security. Everyone's talking about the other day. All they talked about was security. I said, let me make the deal first.
Right.
I have to make the deal first.
Right.
I don't worry about security
It's
right
a
now.
multi-step
We have to have a
process.
deal because right now, last week, 2,000 soldiers died on both sides. 2,000. And they're losing 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a week.
Yeah.
So as we sit here and we talk, people are getting shot and dying on the battlefield.
Right.
And, you know, they're not American soldiers, but they're Russian soldiers and they're Ukrainian
They're
soldiers.
people.
And we want to be able to stop it.
Doesn't matter.
And we want to be able also to spend money on other things. We don't want to, this is a tremendous amount of money. And what the Biden administration did was terrible. They were giving money, but he had no security on the money. Europe, as you know, gave much less money, but they had security. It was
Listen
in
to
the
this
form of
shit.
a loan. They get their money back, and we didn't. And now, at least we're protected because the American taxpayer has to be protected too. But
Right. Right. Trump is only in office for the American people. He is not in office for the people of the world. However, he does not want the people of the world to be killing each other. Now, should we invest in somebody else's war in order to stop them from killing each other? That's debatable, right? Would they invest in our war to make us stop? Nah. They cannot. Right? He's seeing this as, these are U.S. taxpayers' money that I'm sending in one way or another. And if I'm going to be using all of these taxpayers' money, then it needs to be a one and done kind of solution, right? And if it is not a good solution, it's not going to happen.
this is an incredible agreement for Ukraine.
Yeah.
Because we have a big
Could be.
investment in their country now. And what they have, very few people have. and we're able to really go forward with very, very high-tech things and many other things, including weaponry that we're going to use in many locations, but that we need for our country.
Right.
This allows
For our
us
sovereignty. For our sovereignty. Not for their sovereignty, for our sovereignty.
to do that.
Will you continue? Will you
Yeah,
continue?
I'm sorry. Can I?
Military aid.
Yes, go ahead, please.
If
Yeah.
I can just yes. In the document, there is one of the very important points. If we speak about business and investment, we never had LNG terminals in Ukraine. This document will open. I mean, the next documents, but anyway, here we see in the framework, we see really goodwill for this. LNG terminals for us is very important, and I think for security of European continent. We have the biggest storage, gas storage.
We
have the
don't need
biggest in
gas.
Europe. Yes, yes, and we can use
We
it.
have
use
lots.
it for LNG. Use it for LNG, and we will do it. And really, we can help Europe because Europe really helped. President Trump said that they made less support, but they have our friends and they are our very supportive partners. They really.
He should be talking like this about everybody who's part of this negotiation process, including Russia, if he wants to have a negotiation. What he's saying about Europe, and they are our friends. Of course, Russia, they're not our friends, but you cannot call him a butcher and a murderer and a terrorist and then say, hey, you know, let's have a negotiation.
Gave a lot, Mr. President.
They
Yeah,
did.
really, they did.
They gave a lot, but they gave much less.
No.
Nope. Nope. Now, mind you, we sent $300 billion, I believe it was. $300 billion. And Europe sent $200 billion. Multiple countries, right? How many countries are in Europe? Like, what, 20, 30? I can't remember. I don't remember. Maybe 10, maybe a dozen. I'd have to pull up the map. But it's you know, quite a few countries in Europe, all of Europe. And all of them pitched in to the amount of $200 billion. And that is what Trump is saying. And what he is saying is, well, the money is, it's a lot.
Much less.
No. Elite? No.
Don't argue.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, please.
Mr. President Trump, you have repeatedly called the deal with Ukraine as a historical one.
Okay.
And as a president of the United States, you make historical decisions in other issues which affect America and other world.
Mhm.
So what place in the world history do you want to take? And do you associate yourself
It's kind of like a loaded question. It's like he's spoon feeding the answer to the president.
with any famous historical figures?
What?
Yeah, I'd say George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. I would say I'm
God.
far superior to George Washington and Abraham Lincoln.
Far superior to George Washington. Abraham Lincoln was my subordinate. Abraham Lincoln had to fight a whole war in order to end slavery. I would have ended slavery so much faster.
Now, you know I'm only kidding, right? Because when I say that, the fake news is going to go wild. They're going to say he considers himself to be
I'm the
better
best
than
negotiator.
Washington.
Slaves would have loved me. I would have had the black vote back in. Oh
You
my
never
God.
know. You never know. I don't compare myself to anybody. I'm here to do a job. We've had a great
I respect that.
35 days or whatever it might be, a month, a little more than a month. We've accomplished tremendous amounts. Not only this would be a very great achievement if we could get the war stopped.
Yeah.
And get them back to normalization. I think that
You know, somebody got their phone on in the Oval Office. Somebody's phone went off in the Oval Office. Can you imagine that you are the president of the United States giving a press conference in the Oval Office? and somebody's phone goes off,
It's going to happen.
ban them.
We've had very good talks on both sides, as you know, but I think we've done a very good job, just generally. If you look at all of the things we've done in 30 days, they're saying there's never been a opening for a president. The first month, there's never been a first month like we've had.
Uh-huh.
And this is one of the very important
Every
things.
president
This, to
says
me,
that.
is one of the most important things because we have tremendous death taking place as we speak, and I don't want to have that. You know, think of the
Right,
parents, think
okay.
of the whether they're in Russia or Ukraine, think of the parents of all these people being killed.
Yes,
Needless-
absolutely. We are the third party. We're not Ukrainian.
needlessly.
They came to our territory.
Should have never
Oh, he came into our territory. Like, oh, he came into our house. You don't come into somebody else's house and then tell them what color the walls should be. Oh, he came into our house, right? You don't change the channel on the TV of somebody else's house, bro. You're not negotiating, man. What are you doing?
started. This would have, if I were president, this would have never started.
Mr. President,
Mr. President.
Mr. President, will you continue sending military aid to Ukraine after the U.S. signs this agreement
know.
with Ukraine?
Yeah, we're
And the
gonna be
question to
continuing.
President Zelenskyy,
Okay, he does know.
Do you feel like
Yeah.
the U.S. is on your side? That President Trump is on your side?
He's on no side. He is a professional fence sitter. He is trying to be a professional fence sitter right now. He wants no side. He is on the side of let's stop dying.
At this moment?
What do you think?
He wants to know, do you think that, sort of a stupid question. 'cause
Yeah.
I guess we wouldn't be here if I wasn't. You know? But
I
Yeah,
think that-
okay, so what Trump is saying is yes, I'm on his side, but I am also on the side. I'm on their side. I am on the side of people's life. Of course, that means that he is on the side of Ukraine. And at the same time, he is also on the side of Russia because what he wants is for people to live, not to die.
I think that the United States on our side from the very beginning of occupation,
Yeah,
and I think that President Trump on our side.
I don't think it's wise. I think they should have skipped the question. If you ask me, I think that they should have just told him we're not answering this stupid question. You're rage baiting Russia by asking this stupid question.
And of course, I'm sure that United States President will not stop support this.
Because listen to this guy, he's saying support. He's talking about the military support, right? He's not talking about the support like we're going to help you bury your dead, or we're going to sit there and give you a shoulder to cry on. No, this is what support. It comes in money, and the money goes towards what? Military.
Crucial for us. It's important for us. Yes. And Putin, the president speaks about the people and the soldiers which are dying, but they came to our territory. They
They
came to
came
our
into
land.
our
They began
territory.
to-
It's not like we were there. They came into our territory. This is the European thing I was talking about, how this is the way that their logic, the process from, step 1, step 2, step 3, and how they get from point A to point B, He came into our territory. We didn't go into, it's not like we met in a neutral area and started killing each other. No, he came into our territory and they killing our people. And then, so we responded.
war, and they have to stop.
So they have to stop.
I think this is the question, was really the most important question. Can President Trump, I hope yes, with some other allies, to stop Putin, withdraw these enemies, our enemy, withdraw these troops from our land? And I think that you asked about the history, about the, I think that if President, or when, he will stop Putin, if President Trump will
This whole stop Putin thing. We're not stopping Putin. We're stopping the war.
bring peace to our country, I think he will be on this wall.
Or I'll shut up for a
We
while.
had very, very
I hope.
good talks.
What about military aid to Ukraine?
President Zelenskyy just said that there'd be no compromises with
Yes, he did.
Vladimir Putin. I just wanted to ask both of you. Firstly, are there compromises that you think that President Zelenskyy is going to have
Of course.
to make? And President Zelenskyy, is there anything that you may be able to offer or bring to the table? For example, elections. Thank you.
I think you're going to have to always make compromises. You can't do any deals without compromises. So certainly he's going to
I
have to.
think that asking, like, for example, elections, that little, he slid that thing in there at the end. I don't like that. I don't like that. I think that's distasteful. I don't think that he should be asking the president if he is willing to resign for the sake of his people, because what that does is that undermines the democracy within their country, which is basically the that is the sovereignty of their country. You cannot blackmail you cannot blackmail somebody into destroying their own democracy for the sake of democracy.
Make some compromises, but hopefully they won't be as big as some people think you're going to have to make. That's all we can.
No. I think it would be wrong for President Zelenskyy to even entertain the thought of stepping down. I believe that he should get through this war, and whatever the election process is and has been in the Ukraine, it should continue to be followed.
Do. I'm here as an arbitrator, as a mediator to a certain extent between two parties
hostile
that
parties.
have been very hostile, to put it mildly.
Yes.
They've been very hostile. There's been a vicious war.
Yes.
There's been a vicious war. You know, it's a very level battlefield, and those bullets go out, and as I've said many times, we were talking about it with Pete, many times the only thing stopping those bullets is a human body. And in the case we're talking about, generally young human bodies are stopping a lot of bullets. It's dead level. That's why it's great farmland. It's great land. It's great farmland. But there's
Saying the
very little
the land has
protection
been flat.
against the bullets that are being and other things that are being shot. So all I can do is see if I can get everybody at the table and get an agreement. And I think we're going to end up with an agreement. Otherwise, I wouldn't probably be even here today.
Right.
If I,
Mr. President, I got two questions for you.
He wants to tie. I mean, he kind of missed his timing. He should have said that. He should have piped up a little bit sooner. Now he's a little annoyed. He's like, I wanted to say something. Can I say something, please? I don't think that Trump was like kind of not giving him the opportunity to speak. I think it did not occur to Trump that maybe the president of the Ukraine wanted to speak.
You think ultimately your legacy
He's like,
will be
fuck it.
the peacemaker,
Look at him, fuck
not
him.
the president
Okay.
that led this country into another war and ended foreign wars? And I've got a question.
I hope it will. I mean, I hope I'm going to be remembered as a peacemaker.
Right.
This
That is the point of
would be
this
a
whole
great thing if we
conversation.
could do this. I'm doing this to save lives more than anything else.
Yeah.
Second is to save a lot of money, but I consider that to be far less important.
Okay.
So I hope I'm going to thank you, Brian, for that question. It was a nice question. I hope I'll be known and recognized as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing to solve. This is a very dangerous situation. You know, this could lead to a third world war. This was headed in the
If
wrong
we
direction.
don't,
If this election,
if we stick our nose in the wrong place, it could pull us into that war, and then yes, it would lead to another world war.
we're lost.
It's totally dependent on whether Russia wants to start a world war or a war with us through Ukraine. And it's also on us to act appropriately as diplomats, because that's all we should be acting like, is just diplomats. And in my opinion, diplomats don't send somebody weapons.
We didn't win this election, and by the way, we won it by a lot.
Oh,
It was a
so many
mandate.
votes.
We won every swing state.
Every swing
We won
state,
the popular
every
vote
district.
by millions and millions of votes.
Oh, we got
won
the black
everything.
vote, the Hispanic vote.
Districts, you look at the areas of red. Take a
All
look at the
red.
map. This was
Oh, it was
big
a mandate.
And,
It was a
this was
mandate.
one of the things.
They
I
tried to
said,
rig
we're
it.
gonna get
They
this thing.
tried it.
So,
They
didn't
won.
win. I think
They
this
rigged
would've-
it in the
this
last
could have
one, but it
very
was
well
too
ended up
big
in
to
a
rig.
Third World War, and that would not have been a good situation. What was your second
And
question?
my second question for President Zelensky.
Yeah.
Why don't you wear a suit?
Why?
Jesus. Oh my God. Are you serious?
Sorry.
Look at him. He can't even have that. Like, what?
In this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit, just want to see, do you own a suit?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not
Really?
respecting
I
the
don't have
authority of
such.
this office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe one,
Maybe something
maybe
like this?
something like
Yes,
yours.
sir.
Yes,
That'd be great.
maybe something better. I don't
Oh my God. As an Eastern European person, that's just really funny because basically that was the European way of telling him to go fuck himself. Maybe I'll wear a suit. I'll put on a costume when my people stop dying. Oh, maybe I'll buy a costume like the one you have on. Or maybe it'll be a little bit better, because I am the president of an entire country.
We will see. Maybe something cheaper than. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, President. Yes, President, are you going to send more arms to Ukraine in case there's no peace?
Yeah, we're going to have arms to Ukraine, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Hopefully, I won't have to send very much because hopefully we're going to have it finished. We're looking forward to finishing this quickly. We're not looking forward to sending a lot of arms. We're looking forward to getting
Legs
the war
too,
finished
maybe?
so we can
I hope. I
do
honestly,
other
I don't.
things.
I don't think we should be
We
sending
very
them.
much appreciate the agreement. 'cause
something
we
to
needed
continue
what they
fighting with.
had, and we're treating,
I don't
our
know.
country is now treated
be a hot
fairly.
take.
Biden didn't do that. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. This should have never happened. This should have never started. But, sure, the answer is yes, but hopefully we won't have to send much because I'm looking forward to getting it done quickly, very quickly.
Does that still provide
Okay.
security guarantees, Mr. President?
I don't want.
Usually, quick deals in my experience, quick deals are usually very static, right? Easily broken.
Talk about security yet because I want to get the deal done. You fall into the same trap like everybody else. A million times you said over and over. I want to get the deal done. Security is so easy. That's about 2% of the problem.
I get that.
I'm not worried about security. I'm worried.
I understand that because he's looking at it as like a multi-step process. Basically, the security is everybody put the gun down, stop shooting each other, right? Now you have security. Wow, that was easy. What do you need to, but he's here with the president of the Ukraine to figure out what it is that they need in order for them to put their guns down, and then he can take that information back and have a conversation with Russia and ask them, what is it that you need from the other guys in order for you to put your guns down? Okay? So, but I'm not a big fan of quick deals. Quick deals are broken easily.
about getting the deal done. The security is the easy part. Security is very nice. Everybody stopped shooting.
Eh?
And now
Eh?
when Europe put people there, I know France is going to. I know the UK is going to.
Yeah.
I know other countries are going to, and they happen to be right next door. We
Right.
haven't committed, but we could conceivably. You know, we have security in a different form. We'll have workers there.
I understand that basically, like if Russia were to invade and interfere with the investments of the American people, or more likely if there are American people in the Ukraine, doing something in order because of this deal, this mineral deal. And then they get caught in the crossfire of another, the war starting back up again. Then that is in a way that is a security, right? Because then, in a way, Russia would be attacking the United States, and I guess in a way that is a security, in a sense.
Digging, taking
Digging.
raw earth so that we can create a lot of great product
Little baby
in this
drill.
country. So in that sense, you have something, but we haven't determined that yet. I will say, in speaking to France and in speaking to, and they were here, as you know, last week and just the other day, they have committed to
A
a
lot.
lot of security.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to need much security. I think once this deal gets done, it's all.
If you watch the Ukrainian president's eyes and you watch him, he's trying to read in between the lines. He's trying to figure out what it is that he's getting from the United States, based on the things that the president is saying. And right now, what he is seeing in the vocabulary of the president is of our country, of the United States, is that because Europe is going to be giving you a lot, we might give you less.
Over. Russia's not going to want to go back, and nobody's going to want to
And
go
he's
back.
not happy. Look at that. He's
When this deal ends, I really believe this deal is going to be over.
Well,
Question?
yeah,
Please go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
President,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Macron and Keir Starmer at the White House this past week, both of whom praised your courage and conviction to lead the pathway towards peace.
Yes.
Part of that involved, though, re-engaging with Russia in diplomatic relations, something that previous leaders lacked the conviction to do so. What gave you the moral courage and conviction to step forward and lead that?
Boy, I love this guy. Who are you with?
One American News, sir.
Well, that's why I like him. One American News does a great job. I like the question. I think it's a very good question. It's a pathway to peace. It's a pathway to getting something solved. And I
Okay.
feel that as the head of this country, I have an obligation to do that. Plus,
Right.
We're very much involved. We got involved. It's too bad we got involved because
Yeah.
there should have been no involvement, because there should have been no war. And there shouldn't have been October 7th. That would have never.
You can't say that. You can't say that there should have been no war. Like, you can't prevent every war, because especially the ones that you're not part of.
Happened. As you know, Iran was broke. They had no money to give to Hezbollah. They had no money to give to Hamas. They were stone cold broke. And then under Biden, they became rich as hell. They went from no money to $300 billion in a
Imagine
period
that.
of 4
That's like
years.
the same amount of
And
money
they
that
gave
we
a lot
gave
of that money
Ukraine.
away, and you see what happened, and that's a real mess also.
That's interesting.
That we hope to be able to solve. But no, I appreciate your question very much. It's just, I feel I have an obligation to try and do something to stop the death.
Yeah.
If I can answer, yes, if I can answer,
Please,
sorry,
go ahead.
please.
And I do like your clothing, by the way.
Yeah, really?
Honestly, I like it too, and I understand the president of the Ukraine. He's, in a way, he's like Trump. He's a bit eccentric, I guess you could say, especially when it comes to when he wakes up and he chooses his outfit. In his mind, he's not comfortable wearing a suit, and looking all nice and nice and clean and proper, and fancy, while everybody in his country is dying and being kidnapped in order to join the military, forced into the military. he doesn't feel it's appropriate to put on a nice looking suit and, look all good. And I like it. I think it looks nice. I think that every country has their own thing. I think that if, the president of Saudi Arabia wants to wear, his traditional religious clothing, and that does not make him less of a president or less capable of a president. He is still, performing the duties for his country.
I think he's a great guy, by the way. But I don't
I think
know.
he asked two really stupid questions, honestly. He asked one question to butter up Trump, and then he slid the other one in. He's like, I got two questions. One, and then the other one's the bullshit question.
You two like each other, but you know what? I think
No,
he's
no,
dressed. I think he's
why?
dressed
I like
beautifully.
this guy. I don't know
I think
him.
he's dressed beautifully.
So I have more. I have more serious things than answer on such
Yes,
questions.
that's a
I will
good-
answer on more serious
a good
questions if
statement.
I can.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So
If I
please.
can. Oof. Oof. If I can. He's. If I can. You see that? He's feeling shut out right now.
About security guarantees and about just ceasefire. We can't just speak about ceasefire and speak and speak. It will not work.
Okay.
Just ceasefire will not never work because I'm like a president.
No, you're not like the president. You are the president. Don't. I don't, that is more European, Eastern European way of talking. I am like the president. No, you are the president. But I think he's saying he's like Trump, perhaps. That's the problem with the Ukrainian English, or not Ukrainian English, but Eastern Europeans when they speak English. It's sometimes it comes out like I am like the president. No, you are not like the president. You are the president. Please. I have this experience, and not only me, but the
Have
Ukraine.
this experience and not only me. Ukraine before my presidency from the 2014, Putin broken 25 times.
Yeah.
25.
This is valid. This is valid. I believe this is very, very, very valid. Like, what is it that we can do for the Ukrainian people and for the Russian people, other than telling them to, put your guns down? What is it that we can do in order to make sure that this ceasefire does not actually get broken, after Trump is no longer the president, right? Because Trump is claiming that if he were the president, this war would have never happened, and if because he's now the president, he has the power to make this war end. But what happens when Trump is no longer the president? Ugh. When Trump is no longer the president, maybe Russia does respect Trump enough to, honor the ceasefire throughout Trump's presidency, but who knows who the next president will be? Right now, nobody. Right now, some people want J.D. Vance. Some people want any Democrat at all. I think I'm not gonna, that's not the point of this video, but the point is that, there is validity in this comment that 25 times that he signed something and then disregarded it. Like, you take out a loan and then you just run away with the money and disappear. Like,
He broken his own signature. 25 times he broken ceasefire.
But he never broke to me. He never broke.
It's not entirely relevant. That he never broke to me. Yeah, maybe in order for Trump to accomplish something, that might be relevant. But for the long term, Trump, even if Trump becomes emperor of the United States, which I don't even think he's even thinking about, but who knows? But anyways, he will not live forever. Trump will not, and then what, So not an entirely valid argument because he's not God. He's not going to be there forever.
No, you were the president.
He
You
never
were the
broke-
president
he
during.
never broke to me.
In 2016, you've been the president, Mr. President. You've been the president, but
Now they're arguing.
he had, of course, not with you, but he had during those period, he had conversations with our side. And we had Normandy format, you know, the France, Germany, Ukraine, and Russia. And he broken 25 times. That's why we will never accept just ceasefire.
And I understand that. So, backtracking a little bit, and that is why the Ukrainian president, the Zelenskyy, he came to the United States asking for the American air shield technology. Because that is, in his opinion, the best way to make the ceasefire actually stay and continue to be honored and hopefully not be broken again in the future. That is, he wants a well-defended. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me. There we go. Okay. So, but he wants a security. He says it will not work without security guarantees. Security guarantees that the Ukrainian presidents came to the United States trying to get were the air shield. Now, the air shield, you want us to give. First, let me tell anybody who sees this who is not living in the United States, anybody who comes to the United States and wants the air shield from the United States, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. Think about this, right? If I were a WoW player, and the person that we were at war with, and this were a PvP match, right? Or a PvP server, whatever. If I were a WoW player and I wanted in this country that I'm going to war with acquired technology, which requires hardware. It's not an only software thing. It is hardware that interacts with software in order to work, right? There is a lot of hardware and probably less software, but still it is a collection of technologies working together in order to create defense, right? So that's what the air shield is. You come in to the United States, no matter who you are, the president of the Ukraine, the president of England, the president of whatever you want to be. I don't care. You could be the president of the world. You come in and you ask us for our air shield. You're not going to get it. Because what happens when the country who is at war, we have, even now, the effects of the Cold War are still happening, right? We still have a very, I want to say, like, we are very wary. We are very cautious on how we interact with Russia, right? We are in a ongoing game of chess with several world powers, but mostly with Russia. And what happens if we send a care package to the Ukraine with this technology? They have to build it. It's not something like you level up your country to level 3 and now you have air shield technology. It is not like, Age of Empires where now you can build the wonder and you win the game. It's not like that. You have to build the thing, right? You have to build the whole thing along the border. Now, what happens if you are Russia and this air shield technology has been preventing you from attacking to the United States for many, many, many years, and it's basically the only reason. I mean, it's the biggest reason. why you cannot win a war against the United States, which is a smaller country, physically. Um, what are you going to do the moment that that technology is in your next door neighbor's land? What are you going to do? It's very simple. You're going to break the ceasefire. You're going to invade the fucking country again. You're going to bum rush them and you're going to take that technology and you're going to steal it. And now you have that technology. Now you can build it on your own country. You can then also reverse engineer that technology, figure out how it works, and get around that technology. And there are already ways around that technology. For example, you can shoot a missile. They have missiles that go into the atmosphere and then they stay there in limbo, waiting for the curve, the Earth to turn into the right position itself in the right spot, so that it can then, hit its target. So you can get around the air shield, but when it comes to your next door neighbor, you would have to shoot a missile into the air, into the atmosphere. It would then have to linger there probably for an entire day before it could then acquire a target, or at least half a day, right? At the very least, half a day in order for it to acquire its target, because it's so close to its launch zone, right? So what is going to happen if we give somebody the air shield, especially somebody who is at war with Russia? They're going to not they you're not even going to have a chance to build this technology. If we give it to you, the Russian people, the Russian government will invade, they will break the ceasefire, they will take this technology, and then they will do whatever it is that they want with this technology, and up to and including reverse engineering it in order to make it
Will not work without.
useless. And it is basically our most top secret technology that exists. I would argue that we would release information about the goings on in Area 51 before we release information on how the air shield works.
Security guarantees. Security guarantees, maybe President is right about this document and other, but this document is not enough. Strong army is enough, because his soldiers afraid, Putin's soldiers afraid of our soldiers when we're strong enough. If we are not strong enough, if we are empty, if our storage is empty, we can't defend our
This is true.
land.
Yeah.
Today, he knows that we have all the world knows that we
Of
have
course.
meeting. Yes.
Yeah.
Why he's using ballistic? Putin today.
Today, so they're launching missiles into Ukraine on the same day of the conversation that United States is having with the Ukraine um in order to create a peace deal. So basically he's saying, why is it that during this peace conversation is Russia shooting ballistic missiles at hospitals and schools and whatever it is that they're hitting?
On our hospitals, schools, and it says ballistic. So he knows that we are here and that President Trump is really have goodwill to stop this war.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And you hear now the president. So why he's using? So he doesn't want to stop. He doesn't want. But I hope.
There could be a lot of reasons why he would use ballistic missiles, especially, the Ukrainian people did not stop fighting either. There was not a ceasefire put in place. So, as far as the soldiers are concerned, because the soldiers, no president is on the front lines directing traffic on how to operate this war. As far as the soldiers are concerned, if they're shooting, we're shooting. If they don't stop, we don't stop. It's just back and forth until somebody wins. And right now, they've got a lot of steam left in them.
We will do it, really, we'll do it. Security, when we speak about security guarantees, when the Europeans are ready for contingents, they need USA backstop. If there will not be United States, we will
I don't
never
know.
have any contingents, strong contingents from the Europeans.
I don't
because
I
they will
don't think that the Europeans are completely. I think that money is money, right? I mean, you're not gonna get the air shield, so money is money. I don't know. You get the money from anywhere. You get the money from Jamaica. If it's $200 billion, it doesn't matter where it came from. Doesn't matter how small or big the country is. The money is the same, right? You take $5 and you go to the store and you buy a drink. Doesn't matter if you work at McDonald's or J.C. Penney's, it's still $5, right?
want to divide alliance connection between the United States as the main and strongest ally and Europeans. And this is crucial. This is important. That's what we want to speak about very much. This is very important. And air defense. So air defense, really, we have big deficit with all the systems, and we need to provide this. We need it very much. Otherwise, Putin will never stop and will go further.
He might be right.
He doesn't.
He might be right. I honestly think that I have a hard time seeing the Ukrainian I have a hard time seeing Ukraine winning this war. I have a hard time seeing Ukraine winning this war. I have a hard time seeing it. The air shield would do a lot. But remember, they would have to build it before it can be used. Right?
He hates us.
And it's not going to, they're not going to let them
He
build
hates
it.
Ukrainians. He sees
They would be,
that we are not
the
in it.
Russia would be stupid to let them build it.
He thinks, and he shares these thoughts. I think maybe with your team also, I don't know. But with all the Europeans, in media, officially and not, he always said that there is no such country, such nation, such language, and such life like Ukrainian. No, he really doesn't respect all the Ukrainians, and he wants to destroy us. And you are right, Mr. President. That's 2%. This document, maybe other documents, it's a very good start, very good, but it will not enough to stop this person.
Should Russia change its
He's right. He's right. I don't believe you can trust anything that that Russia says on good faith. Because I don't believe that Russia cares about what it says. I believe that Russia is an opportunist, and that Russia, when it sees a opportunity to take advantage, to perhaps further whatever it is that their goal is, then they will take that opportunity regardless of what it is that they agreed or disagreed to do.
Mr. President, may I one more question, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
I asked President
They have to
Zelenskyy
pay.
this question. He
This
didn't
is the
like
rule.
because-
This is the rule of the
because I-
war.
I'm
This is
sorry.
the rule of the war. During all the centuries, all the history, this is the rule of the war. Who began, those pay.
This doesn't sound like a negotiation.
This is the rule. Putin began this war. He has to pay all money for innovation. He has to pay. Of course, some Russian assets, what we have in Europe, about 300 billion, we can use them. We can use for innovation and buy military support from the United States also.
Okay.
We can do it, but it's not enough.
We're not going to.
It's not-
You cannot buy the air shield.
Question that you didn't like, because I wanted to know.
Go ahead, please. Wait 1 second.
I asked this question that you didn't like because I wanted to know if you want to position yourself in the middle between Russia and
Yes,
Ukraine,
I
or
do.
on the Ukraine side?
No, I'm in the middle. I want to solve this thing.
Right.
I'm
He is
I'm
not there for Ukraine. He is not there for Russia. He is there for the life of the people who are dying. And he doesn't care who those lives belong to. He is there to stop the death.
both. I want to get it solved. And it's wonderful to speak badly about somebody else.
Right.
But I want to get it solved. If we can solve it, great. If we
Right.
can't solve it, they're going to have to fight it out, and who knows what's going to happen. But I want to see it get solved.
Yeah.
May I follow up?
Me too.
One more question about U.S. troops in Europe. After Russian invasion of Ukraine, your predecessor sent additional troops to Eastern Europe, including Poland, my country.
Yeah.
Are you committed?
That's
to
me. I'm from
keeping
Poland.
these troops on the eastern flank of NATO in the future?
I'm very committed to Poland. I think Poland has really stepped up and done a great job for NATO. They, as you know, they paid more than they had to. They are one of the finest groups of people I've ever known.
Hey.
I'm very committed to Poland.
What about
Hey.
Poland's in a tough neighborhood, you know.
What about
It's been a tough
Baltics?
neighborhood. Yeah.
The Baltics.
It's a nice way to say it.
It's a tough neighborhood
I think
too.
they're talking of not the Baltics. I think they mean Balkans, right? I mean Baltics and Balkans. Am I wrong? I might be wrong actually. I might be wrong. But yes, what he's saying is, okay. Well, I'll
But we're
let them
committed.
say it.
We're going to be very committed, and we're committed to NATO. But NATO has to step up, and the Europeans have to step up more than they have.
Right.
And I want to see them equalize because they
Yeah.
are in for far less than we're in,
Yeah.
and they should be at least equal.
Yeah.
You understand that?
Yeah. You should see the graph. You should see the pie chart, whatever. We are putting in 75% of of all the money going into NATO. 75% of that money is our money. Of all the countries that are part of NATO, 75% of that money comes from this country. This one country who is completely separated physically by oceans from all of the problems that those other countries could be having.
Why is the United States, we have an ocean in between, why is the United States in for so much more money and other things as Europe? With that being said, and as you
Right.
said, they've also been obviously very helpful.
Yeah.
But we have put in far more than they have.
By a lot.
And I think they should equalize.
Yes. Yes. In a perfect world, you would put in, let's say, a percentage of your GDP, right? And let's say that but it should not be a disproportionate amount of money where we're putting in 75% of the funding. When we're one country. One country. If we leave NATO, NATO just is useless.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
About the agreement again today, what changed between the first time that Secretary Bessent...
I say we leave I say we leave NATO. I think that's
We made a deal.
welcome.
So
What was the
I'm just,
deciding factor? Was
I'm a business person. We made a deal. That's what changed. I didn't think we were going to make a deal. And we ended up making the deal, so that changed. You know?
Mr. President, what and how do you envision a trilateral summit with President Zelenskyy and...
I don't know, but well, they don't like each other, I can tell you that, okay? They do not like each other. This is not a love match. And it's
It's not a love match. God damn it. You could probably look at him. Look at his face. It's not a love match. He's like, you fucking bitch. How dare you? And you know. Look at his eyes, staring into the distance, staring at nothing, staring through whatever it is that he's actually looking at, and he's really in his head right now, like, yeah, I hate you.
unfortunate. That's why you're in this situation. The United States should not have allowed this to happen, okay? The
Yeah.
United States, run by a man that didn't know much.
Yeah.
I'm going to be very nice. run by an incompetent person, very
Mm-hmm.
incompetent person, should never have allowed this to happen. I've stopped wars. I've stopped many wars. My
Okay.
people will tell you, I stopped wars that nobody ever heard about. I stopped wars before they ever started.
Sure.
You can look at some of, I could give you a lot of nations.
I could give
that
you a
would
lot
tell
of
you right
nations,
now they
but
were
I'm not going
probably
to.
going to war. I could tell you,
Yeah.
right now, there's a nation
Yeah.
thinking about going to war
Probably.
on something that nobody in this room has ever even heard
Probably.
about. Two smaller nations,
Sure.
but big, still
Yeah.
big.
Oh, small but big. You know, I give you a name of a country, but I'm not going to. It's a small country, but it's a big country. You're full of shit.
And I think I've stopped it. But this should have never happened.
Mr. President,
About, sorry, just a second.
Thank you.
About
I like
the
this guy now. He's
initiative.
starting to
First of all,
grow
I
some
want-
balls.
I want really to tell you, and I think that everybody understands that Ukraine, more than Ukrainians, nobody wants to stop this war. But at
Of
the
course.
future,
They're the ones dying.
Any negotiations, it's understandable that two sides of the war, not Russia and the United States, because this is not the war between Russia and the United
Right.
States. This is a war
100%.
of Russia against Ukraine and Ukrainian people. So these two sides will be at the anyway will be at the negotiation table.
if
Then of course United
negotiation
States,
happens,
like
yes.
the strongest partner of the Ukraine, and of course Europe. I think Europe is very important. I want to speak about it with the president. Yes, Europe is very important for us because we.
You
really
should have
defend
done that
Europe
before
today.
you sat
All
down with
Europeans,
the press.
Really recognize that we are defending the line, and they have real life, and our people are dying. That's why they
Yes.
helped us. And also, it's about the NATO. Yes, between, like the president said, you have big, nice ocean.
Yeah.
Yes.
We don't have to worry about your
between us.
problems.
But if we will not stay, Russia will go further to Baltics and to Poland, by the way. But first to the Baltics. It's understandable for them because they've been.
Okay, they did mean the
they've
Baltics,
been
not the
in
Balkans.
USSR.
But
You know,
eventually the
they've
Balkans
been one
as
of the
well.
republics of the USSR, and Putin wants to bring them back
Right.
to his
He
empire.
wants
It's a
that is what it appears to be, is that Putin is trying to restore the USSR. The USSR, for anybody who is younger than, let's say, I mean, this is before I was born, right? But I'm spend a lot. I like to research stuff that I don't know about. So I've spent plenty of time researching not just the USSR but Russia, and also the I forget what the I forgot the name of but Russia has their own version of NATO with several former USSR countries, and anyways, yes, Russia is trying to reclaim former territory, and Ukraine is former territory.
fact. And when he will go there, if we will not stay, you will fight. Your American soldiers.
No.
It doesn't matter.
It
we have
you
motion
don't know that.
Or not. Your soldiers will fight.
You don't know that.
Would you be willing to visit Ukraine, maybe Kyiv or Odessa, which is known to be a very Euro Black Sea?
It was my question.
I don't want to talk about Odessa now. Let's not talk about Odessa. I want to talk about making a deal, getting peace. We don't have to talk about Odessa, but a lot of cities have been destroyed. There are a lot of cities that are not recognizable. There's not a building standing.
No, no.
And
you-
a lot of
you
a
have
lot
to
of
come,
things have
Mr.
to happen.
President. You have to come and to look.
Okay, so he's not saying like this way of saying you have to come and to look. It's, to some people it might say to that you are full of crap, or you don't know what you are talking about. But he really is basically, he is kind of making a soft invitation to say, this is an exaggeration, Mr. President. He is being respectful by saying it is a respectful way of saying, that come and see. It is not like that,
No, no, no. We have very good cities. Yes, a lot of things been
they were
destroyed,
better.
but mostly cities alive, and people work, and
Yeah.
children go to school.
Sure.
Sometimes it's very difficult. Sometimes closer to front line,
Right.
children have to go to underground schools or online. But
Okay.
we live. Ukraine is fighting, and Ukraine lives. This is very important.
Of course.
And maybe it's Putin
Even when
sharing
we
this
go to
information
war,
that
we
he
still go to
destroyed us.
school, right?
No, he lost 700,000 people, 700,000 soldiers. He lost everything. Yes. So,
Mr. President,
Mr. President,
He has
one
plenty.
more.
Wouldn't it-
I mentioned
No, no,
Mr.
Poland.
President, thank you.
If Putin were to draft people into his military by using the same tactics that the Ukrainian president is using to draft people into his military,
When did you last speak with President Putin, and what did he say that?
A couple of days ago.
And what did he tell you that gave you the assurance that he wanted peace?
Well, that's what I do. My whole life is deals. I know pretty good. And I've known him for a long time. I've dealt with him for a long time. He had to suffer through the Russia hoax. You know, Russia was a hoax. It was
he
all
didn't
Biden.
really
It was
suffer,
nothing to do
but
with him.
whatever.
So he had to suffer through that, and he was able to do that. I think that he
I
wants
think
to
of
make a
all
deal.
the things that Putin has been accused of, that is like so far down the list.
And he'd like to see it end. That's all I do. That's what I do. My whole life, that's what I do, is make deals. And I'm in the middle of a mess, because this is a real mess. It's a very dangerous one. If this doesn't get solved now, it's not going to get solved for a long time. So I hope we're going to get it solved. In the back, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Prime Minister Starmer claimed repeatedly that his government believes in free speech and was not engaged in censorship. But his country's government arrests people for memes and...
Now they're asking about the
Evil
UK
words and is
for
pressuring,
no reason.
American companies to censor Americans on its behalf.
Totally off topic.
How can he be a reliable, trustworthy partner when he says things that are demonstrably false on such an important topic?
Well, we actually spoke to him about that yesterday, and we thought they took it very, very much too far. JD
You're like
was-
twisting. I don't like when they take some question, an unrelated question, and try to twist it into a relevant question. It's not relevant. You're using this opportunity to ask a question that you wanted to have answered prior to even the arrangement of this meeting. So
very strong on
I'm
it.
not a fan
So was I.
of this question.
So was Marco, and we've been speaking to him about it. Marco, would you like to say something about that?
We have concerns, obviously, with the conduct of those, particularly as it impacts Americans.
That's
And it's real
Secretary.
concern
I
that
believe that's the
Americans
Secretary of
who's
State,
online could fall into the hands
like the
of
chief
the
diplomat of our entire country.
And so this is a point the Vice President made in Munich, and I think it's a very compelling.
It's a nice couch. I kind of want a couch like that. I'm not a big fan of the chairs. They don't look very comfortable, but that couch looks comfy.
We're going to need to take action in that regard.
JD? It's actually a very important question.
We spoke about this in detail with the Prime Minister, the Foreign Secretary, and others at lunch yesterday, and I know that Secretary of Commerce Lutnick followed up in private meetings last night. This is really important. We believe Americans have the right to speak their mind, even if we in this room disagree with them. They have the right to speak their mind in the public square, which is often online these days. And we're going to defend that right as it pertains to American companies and American citizens vigorously if we have to. I do think that under the President's leadership, we're going to find common ground with our friends in the UK on this question, but it remains to be seen. The principle that will guide us is we believe in free speech in this country, and we'll fight for it for American citizens.
Mr. President, on the deal, is there any other
Yeah,
oil and gas component to the deal? Is it all critical?
A little bit. We'll see.
I'm not a fan of
We're
unrelated
not really
questions.
looking for that so much. We got a lot. We have more than anybody in the world, by far. So no, we're not talking about it too much, but a little bit. I think it affects also, but for the most part, no.
And sir, is there any agreement from Ukraine to purchase U.S. LNG as part of the deal, or is
No.
that on the table at all?
No,
Mr. President.
we don't need that.
Mr. President, I just wanted to ask you about, you just mentioned that you'd spoken to Vladimir Putin a couple of days ago. Just to be clear, that's a new call, not the one that you were
I've spoken to him on numerous occasions.
Okay. And how was the latest call?
Oh, he's doing good. He's doing good. He's a little tired. Like, he's doing okay. Like, what kind of stupid question?
What did you discuss? How did it go?
Are you serious?
I am. I'd love to know.
It went well. I think we're going to have a deal.
On the minerals deal, Mr. President, some of those minerals are in the east of Ukraine, not far from the front lines
A very good question. Thank you so much.
Direct President Putin to withdraw his forces from those areas.
Hold on, let me.
Good question. Thank you.
Or in the east of Ukraine, not far from.
Going to have it serious with that question?
Let me hear this
It went
question
well.
again.
I think we're going
Not
to
that
have a
one.
deal.
On the minerals deal, Mr. President, some of those minerals are in the east of Ukraine, not far from the front lines and in areas that Russia.
A very good question. Thank you so much.
Direct President Putin to withdraw his forces from those areas if there's U.S. interest.
Well, we'll take a look at the time. We have a lot of area.
That is a good point.
It's a very big area we're talking about, so we'll take a look. I'll study that and I'll see.
And who would protect those minerals if they are U.S. interest? Would that be Ukrainian?
They'll be
forces,
protected. The
European
agreement
forces,
will protect them.
US
The agreement.
Blah. There's no agreement yet, so don't say that.
We're signing an agreement. You know?
Right, but what if Russia tries to invade or there's Russian aggression in those spots?
I just told you, I don't think that's going to happen. And if that were going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal. If I thought that was going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal.
Some people may wonder why.
You know, they ought to focus on CNN on survival, not asking me these ridiculous questions.
Okay.
All right, focus on surviving.
I'm not a
CNN's
fan of
got such
CNN
low
either,
ratings,
but
I don't
I'm
think
not
they're
here to
survive.
watch the bickering.
Let's go. Yeah, please, go ahead.
One more. Since I already mentioned Poland. Poland was under Russian control for
Many
decades after
times.
the Second World War.
So many.
When I was a kid, I looked at the United States not only as a most powerful country, richest country in the world, the country that has great music, great movies, great muscle cars, but
yeah.
also as a force for good. And now I'm talking with my friends in Poland, and they are worried that you align yourself too much with Putin.
Eh,
What's your message for them?
he's a diplomat.
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal.
That is beautiful. That was probably the best answer he could give. That was beautiful.
You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way.
Right.
I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America.
Thank
and
you.
for the good of
The
world.
taxpayers.
I'm aligned with the world. And I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred. And I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done.
Right.
You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But
Oh,
you're never going to get a deal that way.
never
So
seen
that's the
a
way it
tougher
goes.
president.
All right, one more question. Yeah, please.
Hey, I want to respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden, of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Here we go. This is where the fun begins. Now, you remember what he said about the war and how the rules of war have been the same for centuries, that when you come in, he came into our territory. Those who start the war have to pay. He's starting this. I watched this and I thought J.D. Vance probably should have kept his mouth shut a little bit more the first time. But I did not realize I did not see a lot of this stuff that I'm seeing right now, that I've been seeing, and I'm seeing this the Ukrainian president prompting a discussion with the vice president.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, parts of East and Crimea.
Yep.
So he occupied it on 2014.
Okay.
So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then
Right.
President Trump, then
Yeah.
President Biden. Now
So he's saying, what's the, what are we gonna do that's going to stick after Trump is gone?
President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him.
Yeah.
He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact line?
2015.
2014.
2014 is
Well,
2014.
2014.
Yeah. So
I was,
he
I
killed.
was not here.
Yeah, but,
That's exactly
but
right.
yes, but during 2014 till 2022, yeah, the situation the same. The people are been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire, all of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire.
Right.
He killed our people, and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking.
I understand his concern because he's asking, what is it that you are suggesting is going to actually make this ceasefire not fall apart like the 25 other ones that have happened already?
About the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
That's a non-answer.
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys
Here
are
we
going
go.
around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should
Here
be
we go.
thanking the president for
Have you
trying to
ever
bring
been-
an end to this
Have
conflict.
you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you.
You
bring
watch
people-
YouTube?
You bring them on
You
a
watching
propaganda
YouTube, bro.
tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems?
What?
Bringing people into your military?
we have
And do you think that it's respectful
I will answer.
to come to the Oval Office
I
of
will
the United
answer.
States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction?
He's not attacking the. Okay, so that's a very. I think that's I think he's exaggerating, saying that he's attacking the administration that's trying to broker peace between you and the person that you're at war with. He is undermining the peace deal by talking about Russia in such a negative way. I believe that might be what JD's talking about, but again, it's an exaggeration. He's using some pretty big words for something that's not exactly what he's saying.
Your
A
country.
lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future.
Oh,
God bless.
You don't know.
God bless.
You don't know
God
that.
bless. You
Don't-
will not
you
have
gotta-
a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
Oh,
telling you.
Because
God.
you're in no
Answering on
position
this
to
question.
dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly
this.
what
I'm not
You're
dictating.
in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
You
We're
will-
going to feel very
you will
good.
feel influence.
We're going to feel very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the
bad
very
position,
beginning
and
of
he
the
happens
war.
to be right about
From
it.
the very beginning of the war.
You're not
Mr.
in a
Brown,
good position.
I
You don't
was
have
in
the cards right now. With us, you start having
not
cards.
playing
But
cards.
right now, you're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War
What you-
III.
what you
You're
thinking about?
gambling with
What you
World
thinking
War
about?
III. And
You-
what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
I'm
That's
with
back
all
to you.
respect to your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once?
A
this
lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No,
Oh
even
my
today you
God.
said thank
Even
you.
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition.
I don't think you should have said that whole, like, did you say thank you once? I think that's a little rough. I mean, that's kind of inappropriate. And it makes him... I don't know,
in
man.
October, offer some words of appreciation for
What-
the United
what
States
you're
of
speaking
America
about?
and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country is in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this.
I,
You have a damn good chance of
we are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President,
Right.
we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said thank
stupid
you.
president, $350 billion.
You
We
voted
gave
for
you
your president.
military equipment.
You
And
voted
you
for
men
your
are brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about West
If
people?
you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I tell
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I said a lot of times thank you to American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate
It's
those
not about
disagreements
the
rather
thank
than
you. The
trying
thank
to
you
fight it
is
out in the
obvious.
American
I think
media
the thank
when
you
you're wrong.
goes without
We
saying.
know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on over here. I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. You're
No,
people are
man.
dying.
I tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't, please,
you're running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then
President.
then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I wanted this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're
I
saying you
said-
don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about
Right.
ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what-
That
what
wasn't
this
with me.
means. It
That was
wasn't
with
with you.
a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person.
But this
That
is
was
your,
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me.
Right, he
that
was
was with Obama,
the
who
country.
gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets.
I don't know what
In
sheets
fact,
are.
the statement is, Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful.
I'm
Because let me
assuming
tell
it's a
you, you
type
don't
of
have the
light
cards.
missile.
With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry.
Going to be a tough deal to make because the attitudes have to change.
Yeah.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do we do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right
What are
now,
you
but
saying?
So she's saying, oh,
what if
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now?
right, yeah. I mean, Russia could easily just blow up. I mean, not easily, but Russia, you know, if they could have just blew up the White House during this whole negotiation process, this negotiation meeting. And with all these journalists, right? And, you know, these journalists go to these places and they know the danger that they're putting themselves in. So what kind of stupid question is that?
What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama.
It is important for the Russian people to respect the person that they are speaking to. And when they do not respect the people that they are speaking to, they don't take them seriously. That is a pattern, a pattern of behavior that has been, you know, a thing with especially with Putin. It is a very popular, you know, pattern of behavior. If he respects somebody, he will actually take something seriously. If he doesn't respect somebody, he will agree to whatever it is that they want to talk about and then like forget about it the moment they stop having the conversation.
Respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam.
Mm-hmm.
And he had to go through that.
Yep.
And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia, the 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam, and he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is I've empowered you to be a
Seem
tough guy.
kind of rough, right?
And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave.
Yes.
But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position.
Right.
But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think, huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely
We'll see
was.
what we can do about putting it together. Thank you.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Holy crap. All right, well, there you go, folks. That's good Lord. I think this is the first time that we have ever seen basically what happens at the negotiation table behind the scenes, not in front of the press. I think this is the first time where we've actually seen that fallout of the from behind closed doors and in front of the media. And I think that this was a mistake to even do. I think that this whole thing should have never. I don't think that this narrative should have. But I believe that this narrative should have happened in front of the press because it's counterproductive to the negotiation that they're trying to accomplish. But I believe, honestly, with all the things the Ukrainian president is saying during this meeting that is specifically for the negotiation, I think that the president of the Ukraine is really not doing himself a lot of or the negotiation any favors. And I think that Trump is kind of irritated, and I think especially JD Vance, who is sitting there kind of as a fly on the wall, watching nonverbal communication of the president of Ukraine and watching, kind of seeing things as a as a third party, kind of stepping back and just staying quiet for most of it until the end. I believe that it puts the diplomats in a kind of difficult spot when it comes to them trying to accomplish the goal of making peace. And I think that there should have been, possibly a little bit of counseling on the Ukrainian president's part in order to kind of make sure that we're having this conversation in a diplomatic way. And I don't think that, calling the Russian president of Vladimir Putin, I don't believe that calling him a murderer, a butcher, whatever. I don't believe that any of those things, saying that the United States is on our side, and not saying basically making it look like a team versus Russia. Like this, I don't believe that this is good. And I think that. I think he came in, he asked for the air shield, and he's really not going to get it. Like, nobody's going to get that air shield for anything. That doesn't matter what you try to give us. And he's not even giving us anything, really. He's just giving us permission to work in his country and, mining resources. Like, putting in, the work. We're putting in the work, and he's giving us permission to put in work, who we then have to, pay for that work. And then saying that we want the air shield in exchange for that? Like, bro, nothing can get you the air shield. Nothing. Especially what? Like, if I give you a map for buried treasure, you should give me your pirate ship. Like, what? And then you, after you go and get the treasure, you can buy 2 pirate ships. But how am I gonna get the treasure? Like, come on, what? I don't know, man. Like, I wanted to cover this. I haven't done any content in probably a year. I was happy and minding my own business. But good lord, the fallout that's gone on in this meeting. I'm gonna wrap it up, guys. That's my take. That's all I've got to say on this, and I appreciate you. I might keep making videos, but I had to talk about this one for sure. Anyways, appreciate you guys. Appreciate your time. Thank you for coming around. Consider subscribing. Like the video for the algorithm. Appreciate you. Love you. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Have a great one. Stay safe.